Good evening, students. We have last week we have done with this part, but I am very quickly moving through this part again. We'll have this kind of videos in the coming days also. Bookkeeping. We have a definition for bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is defined as the systematic recording of business transactions. There are 2 points: systematic recording as well as business transactions. So it should be kept in mind. Then objectives of bookkeeping. If you are asked the objectives or the advantages for both, you can write the same answer. Helps to ascertain the result of trade, helps to identify the financial position of business, identify the progress of the business, minimize errors, and ensure complete record of and permanent record of all transactions. Those are the objectives or advantages of bookkeeping. When we talk about transaction refers to receiving a benefit in one form and giving it in another form. For every transaction there will be 2 aspects. So goods purchased means goods is received and cash is paid or given. Goods sales means goods is given and cash is received. So like that. And we have mainly 2 types of transactions. They are cash transaction and credit transaction. The payment of cash is done at the time of transaction, it is called cash transaction. And if the payment is not done at the time of transaction, it is called credit transaction. In a credit transaction, the name of the person to whom or from whom the credit is done will be noted, will be given along with that transaction. Assets and liabilities. Assets are things of value owed. Assets mainly are of 2 types: fixed asset and fluctuating assets. Fixed assets means assets that are used for a long time, which are used for a long period. Fixed assets are divided into 2: tangible and intangible. Tangible means which we can see, feel, touch, which has a material existence. Intangible means which we cannot touch. They cannot be felt. Goodwill, trademark, patents, royalty, etc. Intangible assets. And again, we have that division of fixed and fluctuating asset, where fluctuating asset means cash or things that can be converted to cash. Cash in hand, cash at bank, debtors, bills receivable, stock, etc. Fluctuating assets. Again, we are talking about assets. Moving to liabilities. Liabilities are claims of outsiders against the business. Business ആർക്കെങ്കിലും പൈസ കൊടുക്കാനുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that we call liabilities. And liabilities are also of 2 types: long-term liability and short-term liabilities. Long-term liabilities are loans, mortgages for a long period. Short-term liabilities are amounts that has to be repaid within a short period. Say within 1 year becomes short-term liability. As far as medical stores are concerned, നമ്മുടെ മെഡിക്കൽ സ്റ്റോറുകൾ വെച്ച് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഈ ആഴ്ച മരുന്ന് കൊണ്ടുതരും, അടുത്ത ആഴ്ച വന്നായിരിക്കും എൻ്റെ പൈസ അടുത്ത ടേമിൽ വരുമ്പോഴായിരിക്കും പൈസ കൊണ്ട് കിട്ടും. അത് ചെറിയ സമയത്തേക്ക് തരുന്ന കടമാണ്, ക്രെഡിറ്റാണ്, ചെറിയ ലയബിലിറ്റീസാണ്. Credit, sales, bills payable, creditors, all these are short-term liabilities. And capital is a long-term liability, as well as the capital is the amount invested by the owner in the business. Now, to identify or calculate the capital, we can find the difference between assets and liabilities. Capital equals assets minus liabilities. Assets equals capital plus liabilities. And liabilities is capital assets minus capital. So remember these three formulas also that you can write for the examination. And capital also can be divided into two. Fixed capital, like the assets and liabilities, fixed capital and working capital, two types of capital. Capital used for purchasing fixed assets is called fixed capital. നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ ഫിക്സഡ് അസറ്റ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഫിക്സഡ് അസറ്റ് വാങ്ങാൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ക്യാപിറ്റലാണ് ഫിക്സഡ് ക്യാപിറ്റൽ. ആൻഡ് ദ ക്യാപിറ്റൽ യൂസ്ഡ് ഫോർ മീറ്റിംഗ് ദ day-to-day expenses is called the working capital. Expenses, as all of you know, small expenses may occur in the business. Salaries, funding, rent paid, interest paid is important. If it is only rent, only interest, then also it becomes expenses. And see, machinery repairs, it is also an expense. Some repairs happens to the fixed assets, such amount is considered as expenses and not asset. And also amount received from assets. അസറ്റിൽ നിന്ന് കിട്ടുന്ന എമൗണ്ടിനെ ഇൻകം എന്ന് പറയും. നമ്മുടെ അസറ്റ്, നമ്മുടെ കെട്ടിടങ്ങളിൽ വരുന്ന മുറി വാടക കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുകയാണ്, അതിൽ നിന്ന് കിട്ടുന്ന റെൻ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എൻ ഇൻകം. ബാങ്കിലിട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പണം അസറ്റാണ്, അതിൻ്റെ പലിശ കിട്ടുന്നത് ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ്. ബാങ്കിൽ ലോൺ എടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അതിന് കൊടുക്കുന്ന പലിശയുടെ പേര് എക്സ്പെൻസ്. കമ്മീഷൻ കിട്ടിയാൽ, ഡിസ്കൗണ്ട് കിട്ടിയാൽ, all those are incomes. Now we move on to another title, that is accounting, which has a definition given here. Accounting is the process of identifying, communicating, measuring and recording of economic events and the objectives or advantages. If you are asked advantages of accounting or objectives of accounting, for both you can write these points. It helps to maintain a proper record. It helps to calculate the profit and loss account, preparing or debiting the financial status of the business, making or taking decisions in business, preparing the financial statements like profit and loss account and balance sheet. What are the divisions of accounting? And see, the second one is very important for us. The other two we are not dealing with here. Cost accounting means to find out the cost, unit cost of a product. ഒരെണ്ണത്തിൻ്റെ കോസ്റ്റ് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചിട്ട് അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ കൂട്ടുന്നതിനാണ് കോസ്റ്റ് അക്കൗണ്ടിങ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഫിനാൻഷ്യൽ അക്കൗണ്ടിങ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കുന്നത്. അതിനകത്താണ് നമ്മൾ പ്രോഫിറ്റ് ആൻഡ് ലോസ് അക്കൗണ്ട്, ബാലൻസ് ഷീറ്റ്, ട്രയൽ ബാലൻസ്, ട്രേഡിംഗ് അക്കൗണ്ട് തുടങ്ങിയവയൊക്കെ തയ്യാറാക്കും. മാനേജ്മെന്റ് അക്കൗണ്ടിങ് കുറച്ചുകൂടി ഉയർന്ന തലത്തിലുള്ളതാണ്. To the top managers, they have to decide how to earn more profit, how to make changes in the business, etc. are dealt with managers, considering the management accounting. So the difference between bookkeeping and accounting, which you can very well go through that. Bookkeeping is systematic recording, but the other one is identifying, communicating, measuring and recording. And see where bookkeeping ends, accounting begins. After preparing the bookkeeping items, you can start with accounting. And the responsibility is much more in accounting than the bookkeeping. Accounting shows the results of the business. It shows the financial position of the business. It helps to prepare the trial balance, profit and loss account, trading and profit and loss account, and balance sheet. But the other part, bookkeeping, we will move up to the ledger only. And we cannot identify the financial position of the business on a particular date. It's very difficult. Again, double entry bookkeeping. As for the examination, there may be a question on double entry bookkeeping. Every transaction has two aspects, a debit aspect and a credit aspect, a giving aspect to a receiving aspect. When cash is received, we debit cash. When cash is given, we credit cash. Another major topic is accounts. Most probably questions from this part comes from the examination. Accounts are summarized statements of transactions related to a particular item or a person for a particular period. Account has two parts, a debit part and a credit part. Writing on the debit part is called debiting. Writing on the credit part is called crediting. And here is the form of an account. If you are asked a question for the examination, you can draw a form also, which has two sides. The left side, debit side, right side, credit side. And both sides we have 4 columns each. You can go through that. You can draw it for the examination also. And what are the kinds of accounts? Real account, accounts of assets. Accounts related to assets. So many names of assets are given there. And another one is personal account. Accounts of persons, firms, organizations like that. Again, capital and drawings are also personal accounts. And nominal accounts include expenses and incomes. Expenses or losses and incomes or gains. Salaries, rent, interest, discount, commission, advertising, etc. Repairs, etc. are expenses. If there is a word received added to any of these, then it becomes an income. Rent received, income, interest received, commission received, discount received, etc. are incomes. The main part, the rules of debit and credit. What are the rules of debit and credit? Real account says debit what comes in and credit what goes out. വരുന്ന അസറ്റുകളാണ് റിയൽ അക്കൗണ്ടിൽ, വരുന്ന അസറ്റിനെ ഡെബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, പോകുന്ന അസറ്റിനെ ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. പേഴ്സണൽ അക്കൗണ്ട് സേസ് ഡെബിറ്റ് ദ റിസീവർ, ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ദ ഗിവർ. കിട്ടുന്ന ആളിനെ ഡെബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം, കൊടുക്കുന്ന ആളിനെ ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. ആൻഡ് നോമിനൽ അക്കൗണ്ട് സേസ് ഡെബിറ്റ് ഓൾ എക്സ്പെൻസസ്, ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ഓൾ ഇൻകംസ്. എക്സ്പെൻസുകളെല്ലാം ഡെബിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം, ഇൻകംസിനെല്ലാം ക്രെഡിറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. See, this is a pictorial representation of what accountancy, accounting and bookkeeping is. You can see bookkeeping on the center, and bookkeeping is part of accounting also. Bookkeeping, accounting in agathu varunnaanu. So, accounting is the process of preparing and presenting of accounts. And bookkeeping is the record keeping process, maintaining your books of accounts. And in the third part you can see accountancy, which includes both bookkeeping and accounting. Accountancy എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it includes both accounting and bookkeeping. So we can say accounting starts where bookkeeping finishes. Accounting starts where bookkeeping ends. And bookkeeping is the basis of accounting also. So that's the pictorial representation. This is another pictorial bookkeeping, accounting, accountancy. Okay. See the accounting cycle. Transaction happens. We prepare the journal. We write the journal entry. Then we post it in the ledger. And the ledger account balances are pooled together to form the trial balance. From trial balance we prepare the trading account. Trading account we go to profit and loss account and the balance sheet. The closing balance sheet. You see, there will be a financial year. See, for example, from April 1st to March 31st is consider it as the financial year. We will be preparing the balance sheet of March 31st, which will be the opening balance sheet of the next year, that is April 1st. മാർച്ച് 31 വേണ്ടി നമ്മൾ തയ്യാറാക്കുന്ന ക്ലോസിംഗ് ബാലൻസ് ഷീറ്റാണ് പിറ്റേ ദിവസമായ ഏപ്രിൽ 1 ഓപ്പണിംഗ് ബാലൻസ് ഷീറ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. സോ അഗെയിൻ ദാറ്റ് പ്രോസസ് ഗോസ് ഓൺ. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് കോൾഡ് ആൻ അക്കൗണ്ടിംഗ് cycle. See, these are the questions that normally come for the examination. Most probably there are questions will be from different types of accounts, bookkeeping, double entry bookkeeping, and the difference between bookkeeping and accounting. So right now we will be stopping this class here. I wish all of you a good day. We'll come with another video the next day. Thank you all.